All right, we are back with the First Alert streaming show, and we have some snow coming up for tonight into tomorrow. We will detail that for you. We will step through that, take a look at some forecast totals. We will also take a look at the weekend forecast and the travel forecast. So let's get to it, and we will start with the almanac today. 25 degrees is all we're going to manage for the high temperature. Not far from our average, but still quite a bit cooler than what we've had around here over the past week or so. The low this morning was 9 degrees. Both of those look to be 2 degrees below our seasonal average. And currently in Madison, you can see we do have some clouds, some altostratus type clouds. They're higher level, 14 degrees current temperature. The wind chill, 14 as well. The wind is pretty light right now, and that's one thing we have lost from yesterday is the strong wind. Man, it was gusty yesterday, gusts up around 35 miles per hour, and with temperatures in the low 20s, we had wind chills single digits through the day, so there has been some improvement at least in the wind. Still have northwesterly wind directionally, but if you look off to the west of here, especially toward the Mississippi and areas west of the Mississippi, the wind is southerly. So we do have a little warm front that's going to push through, and that will shift the wind for us. Now that's going to do a couple things for us. It will increase the low-level moisture, but also increase the temperatures a little bit over the next 48 hours or so. But at least in the short term, we are going to remain cool. That increase in low-level moisture, however, is going to lead to an increase in clouds, and we will see that especially toward mid and late afternoon. Here are the current wind chills, and there are quite a few spots that are reporting wind chills in the single digits at this hour. And through the afternoon, we're looking at low to mid-teens for wind chills, with temperatures rising into the low to mid-20s and then holding nearly steady right on into the evening. And even after midnight, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-20s. We will rise toward daybreak, though, and I would suspect we'll probably be upper 20s by the time daybreak rolls around. The thing is, with a warm front, which obviously we're going to have coming through with temperatures rising overnight, this time of year, whenever you hear warm front, you have to kind of put it in the back of your mind that there could be some freezing precipitation, freezing drizzle, freezing rain. Warm fronts are what will produce that. A cold front won't produce freezing drizzle or freezing rain. You almost always have to have a warm front moving in from the southwest. And when I show you the surface map, you'll see the warm front, and we'll talk about the vertical structure with a warm front and why that will produce some freezing rain coming up in just a moment. But we are going to at least mention that there is the possibility of a little bit of freezing rain. So southerly wind, we're actually going to have two warm fronts, one to the north of here by 4 p.m. And you can see it's actually analyzed as a trough, but it's actually a warm front. It's right here. This trough right here is the one that I'm talking about. And that's, it's analyzed as a trough because it's pretty weak, but it's actually acting more like a warm front because behind it we have the southerly wind. The second warm front is right here. And that is the front that potentially could produce a little bit of freezing rain or freezing drizzle. And the reason is the vertical structure of this. And if I would have known, I'm kind of freewheeling it here, if I'd have known I was going to be talking about it, I would have put up a vertical graphic trying to indicate what I was talking about. But basically what happens when a warm front approaches, so the air in this area, let me change to a curved one here. We'll do this for you. The air in this general area is relatively cooler than the air over here. So this area is warmer behind the front. That's why it's a warm front. So what happens is, as the air approaches, this warmer air approaches relatively cooler air out ahead of it, when it reaches that cool air right here, it begins to be forced upward. So what you're looking at is warm air coming in. It hits relatively cooler air, and then it begins to rise. That happens in the winter. It happens in the summer, spring, fall. Warm air is less dense than cold air. So it's just a matter of the relative differences in the temperature of that air. And as warm air hits that cooler air, it is forced upward. And it's that upward motion that creates, first of all, clouds, secondly, precipitation. But if the air is above freezing, if this warmer air mass that's rising above the cooler air mass is above freezing, which in this case it is, then the precipitation forming up in this area falls through that warmer air and it melts. Because precipitation generally forms as snow. It's forming at 12, 15, 20, 30, in the summer 30, 40,000 feet, and it's cold up there. So that precipitation is developing as snow even in July, and then falling into a warmer air mass and melting and then coming down as rain. But in the winter, if it falls through that warm air mass and then gets to the surface where there is colder air, then it will freeze again. And if that is a fairly shallow layer of cold air, it will fall all the way through the cold air as a raindrop and then hit a surface that is below freezing and freeze. So that's how we get freezing rain. Now, in this case, it will be very limited. I think there may be a little bit of freezing drizzle mixing in with that snow. But usually when you have freezing precipitation mixing with snow, not a big deal. The snow will absorb a lot of that. It's not like just a straight freezing rain event where things will turn to an ice skating rink. But with it mixed with snow, it's usually much more benign. So we'll continue, and the warm front will get a little bit closer to us. We're mainly going to have snow out of this. This is this evening at 11 p.m., but you can see the snow is pretty spotty, mostly light. So this is what we will call a long duration light snow event. We're not going to get much moderate snow. We're not going to get much heavy snow. We're not going to get any heavy snow. It'll mostly just be light snow, but over an extended period of time, it will add up, and we'll take a look at some of the forecast totals in a moment. So this is this evening at 11 p.m. Still scattered snow around. Same goes for Friday. Light snow. This will be coming down, maybe 1/10 of an inch an hour, at most 1/4 of an inch an hour at times. Then our front moves through. Behind the front, we have another cold front right here. And this is the front that's going to push southward toward us. It is the leading edge of much colder air, and that much colder air arrives Sunday. So this is Friday at 7 a.m. We'll put it in motion. Now we're going to take it to Friday 7 p.m. and the front moves through. We are going to get cooler air filling in for Saturday and Sunday, but bitterly cold air arrives Sunday night and into Monday. So this takes us to Saturday, 10 a.m. Most of the snow is done by Saturday. I'll include a chance during the morning hours, but that would amount to mainly flurries. I doubt if there'd be much, if any, accumulation on Saturday. The bulk of our accumulation coming tonight and into tomorrow morning. All right, so how much are we going to get? We'll roll through it. This takes us through Saturday morning, and again, the accumulation's done at that point. This model, which happens to be the Euro model, the European model, is indicating 1 inch to 2 inches for most of southern Wisconsin. Some spots maybe a little more than that, especially north and northwest of here. This is one of the models that is indicating probably more toward the upper limit of snow rather than the lower limit. So what are the other models saying? Well, we can take a look at them, and they're all in fairly good agreement. sometimes we'll get these storms and these will be all over the place, but we have 6 models here and they're all kind of coming together with snow beginning late today and then continuing as we move through time. So we start to see the snow here, and then as we get into Friday, our totals are kind of leveling off at that point. But the models are ranging from under an inch, the North American model, the NAM, 7/10 of an inch, to as high as 3 inches. The IBM model's going 3.1, so that's at the upper limit, but most of them are coming in 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and I think that's much more reasonable. I would say we're probably going to end up under 2 inches in Madison. I would think maybe 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches is probably a pretty good bet by the time all is said and done. I would think also by Friday morning, we're probably looking at under an inch, closer to 1/2 inch tomorrow morning for your morning commute, with additional totals coming in during the day Friday. That's just how it's looking right now. So the forecast for today, increasing cloudiness, 25 for the high, highs in the mid-20s in most spots. Westerly wind, much lighter than yesterday. It'll be at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, lows in the low 20s. These are going to occur during the evening hours with temperatures rising overnight, and we'll be in the upper 20s by daybreak tomorrow, rising to about 35 degrees. Snow will still be likely during the day. We'll have a decent shot at a little bit of light snow Friday night, very little Saturday. But you can see how the temperatures drop, only 17 for the high Saturday. By Saturday night, 2 degrees for the low temperature. Then Sunday, 14 for the high with a 2 degree below zero temperature Sunday night, only 3 on Monday, back to 2 below Monday night, and then we start a warming trend, and hopefully by the end of next week we'll have high temperatures back near average, which is in the mid-20s. So that's what we have coming up as we move through the next couple days and the weekend. We'll be dealing with at least some snowfall beginning. I would plan on the start time around 6 p.m. If you're west or northwest of Madison, maybe a little sooner. If you're east or southeast, maybe a little bit later, but that'll be the general time frame for the start. So we're going to take a little break here and come back. I'll have your weekend forecast and your travel forecast if you're heading anywhere across the Midwest. All right, we are back and we are going to take a look at that travel forecast, and relatively quiet weather across most of the nation, at least in the short term. We do have a wave of low pressure moving up the east coast, which is producing some snowfall over the eastern Great Lakes and portions of the Ohio Valley. Some rain to the northeast, parts of Maine even seeing some rain. As colder air fills in behind that system, it will change everything over to snow. Our clipper comes in and it'll produce some snow from the northern plains into the Great Lakes region by tomorrow morning. That will spin through the northern part of the country and head off to the east of here. Snow will be coming to an end as we move through the weekend. As far as travel, right now. Boise, the only one reporting any delays, and only minor delays in Boise right now. A little snow there. Las Vegas is a bad data point. Here is the weekend forecast coming up quickly here. 33, the high temperature in La Crosse for Friday will be 35, 36 in Milwaukee. You can see the snow that is going to be likely on Friday throughout southern Wisconsin. Much lower chances, though, during the weekend. Same story to the north, snow likely for Friday, but things tapering off on Saturday, then turning much colder through the second half of the weekend. Sunday's high in Green Bay, only 9, Wausau 6, 5 for the high temperature in Hayward on Sunday, and some snow, a pretty good bet early in the weekend, Friday into Saturday. To the south of here, less snow is expected. Chances running lower. Quite a bit of cloudiness, though, through the weekend. High temperatures in the teens, both Saturday and Sunday, other than Davenport. Davenport will hit 20 degrees on Sunday. So that is your First Alert forecast for the short term and for the upcoming weekend. We will be back tomorrow morning at around 10 o'clock with another streaming show. Until then, have a great day.